Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. You look nice.
Thanks. I got my ears lowered today, got rid of some of the gray. Had to,
Aw.
it's been a while, so, I had to
You
clean
got a
up a little.
haircut? You got a
I
haircut?
did.
He
Nice.
did the le-
Yeah.
That's what he did.
You did the lesbian cut? They
I
did
did
the...
the lesbian cut. No, just the skin fade, Bree. Jesus. Whew.
He go like that.
All right. I didn't know Bree was playing Roast Master today. Shit. Hold on. Let me just take exit. I'm good.
You got the lesbian cut. Hold on, let me blow my nose. So what's up, man? What's going on?
Nothing much, man. It's middle of the week, off work, trying to enjoy it. Wonderful time of the year. I can't believe Christmas is next weekend. Like that's
I think the older we get, the less we care about it.
it really just snuck up.
Yeah, the Brie calls me a Grinch, right? Because I'm not. I get it, like the whole cookies and the ham and the tree and the. But I told her, I said, listen, once you go to Florida, all of that goes away. Right now,
You're not gonna know.
No, you're not. You're because it's like 70 degrees. So it's like I don't know. You ever been on like in an island, Willet? Ever?
Yeah. Yeah,
Where?
yeah.
What island? What island? Hawaii?
Well, I mean, we've been through the Caribbean, we've been through the Keys, and so basically the Bahamas, I guess, if you're gonna call it anything.
And have you ever been there during Christmas season?
No, we went during the summer. That would be weird to me.
It is weird.
My grandpa used to go to Florida every year. So, like, and that's just, it seems like what old people do, I guess, and like when they don't want to live up here, but they got kids up here. Not really, it's like he
These are
wanted to be up
pokes you're
here.
taking, right? I just want to make sure that I'm clear that these are pokes you're taking.
Nope, I saw it in your face as soon as I said that. No, I'm saying he goes down he went down for the winter. It's not like he moved to Florida.
Right.
You're just moving as a relocation, you want to go to Florida. That's fine. That's what he did to not be up here during the winter.
Sure.
So,
Well, I mean, I think it's a thing, right? Like you're young, right? You're 29.
Yeah.
Okay. I think when you get to a certain age, it's just like you're fed up, right, with the cold weather. Because in Kentucky, as much as people may think it's warm as shit, it's not. I mean, you're not too far off from where I'm at to where you do have cold winters. I don't think you get snow though, do you?
No, we do.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
we're
do?
pretty much probably almost dead even to what your climate's like.
Okay. So, but I think what happens, well, is when you get my age, you're going to be like, okay, I'm ready to move. It's just, it's a mindset that you're tired of it being cold. Everybody goes there. And it's typically conservatives, right? It's not Democrats. So that's a good thing. That's something very positive.
Yeah, that is. I mean, that's the big appeal of Florida right now, right? It's
Absolutely.
kind of like, hey, it's kind of free over here. Just do your own thing. So, that's
Yeah,
kind of how
this,
Texas is too, I guess.
and then I don't know if you saw the recent thing with DeSantis, right? How he said he just did a live where he was talking about he's not going to do what Biden. What was it? The masks? I can't remember what
The
it
vaccination mandate?
was. It the vaccination? It might have been a vaccination mandate. He's just like, listen, I'm just not going to abide by this. I don't think it was the vaccine. I think it was something else. It's very interesting. It's just he goes against the grain for everything, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. But my question is when he's done being governor, right? Let's just say he runs for 2024. Is the next governor that takes his place going to have that same mindset? That would make me nervous. That would.
Yeah, that is kind of the nerve-wracking thing of how are we going to approach this stuff, right? Because you get so little time frame really to kind of pick up on how somebody is when you're voting for them for whatever they're going to do. And even then, depending on what you're voting for, it's a lot of it's based off of majority anyway. So if we go to the federal level, like, yeah, I want to vote for this representative, but there's what 300 and something representatives in the House. So it's like, what is this really going to matter?
Sure.
And when they do stuff like what they just did of raising the debt ceiling, you just kind of have to sit there and ask yourself, like, I mean, you can't call them; they don't answer, right? Contact your representative. What the hell's that do? Nothing. Like,
You better off calling Domino's and see if you get further that way. Yeah, ain't
yeah,
nobody
like I
picking
could
up.
probably talk to the Domino's CEO more likely than I could get a hold of my damn
That is very
representative.
true. Very. But are you into politics? Like, do you follow them, or are you at that age like where you don't really give a shit? It's just whatever happens, happens.
Nah, yeah, I don't really care. And the way I see it is it's pretty much outside of my control. I mean, you could make the argument that every vote counts and this and that and all those cliches that people like to throw around, but it's not it doesn't feel that way, you know what I mean? Like
Really, you
what's one vote gonna do?
it's odd that you say that because I kind of feel the same way, right? Like I do because they'll say, oh, well, if you vote, that could be the winning vote. First off, I've never ever ever seen somebody win by one vote in anything. Not just politics in general. One vote, but then the argument could be said is that as collective, the people that voted were all just one vote. You understand? Like there was 2,000 people that had that same mindset we did, and they voted anyway, and then that was the determining factor. Do I
Yeah,
believe
well, that's the
that?
problem.
No, I
That's the
don't.
problem, right? Because it's like I want to sit here and think one vote doesn't matter, but if too many people think that, like, hey, don't take my thing because then we actually have a problem because a whole bunch of people didn't vote. So it's like easily to snowball that one out of control, and it's like, I'd rather just keep that to myself. We're not going to talk about that viewpoint, so I'll just wait until after and then tell people, I don't really care.
So you don't look at being somebody that doesn't look into politics. Do you watch the news?
Oh, hell no.
You don't.
No, the most news I would get, like if I really want like actual news, I'm probably going to Twitter because that's like the most accurate place you're gonna get it, right? It's sad, but it's true. So like, you see an article of I don't this polar bear ripped the throat out of a 3-year-old's child, and then you go to Twitter and see what actually happened, and what it was is a polar bear walked across the road to get a banana,
And a
and
kid
that's
was in
all.
the way.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah, he
Right.
just walked over him. So it's like, what the fuck?
So that's like comparing Facebook to Twitter. Facebook will show you what happened when the guy got pulled over, right? But then you go over to Twitter and it's the whole 20-minute video where you have to kind of skip through to
Yes.
figure out the actual dialogue behind the story. Yes, I agree. But I feel, though, the older that I get, the more that I am inclined to vote, just because this is going to sound really weird, but it's like a rite of passage. Like I'm old and I have to care now. So does that
What
make
else are you
sense?
doing? What else am I doing? Shit.
Right, I'm 42 retiring. That's good. I'm 42 going to Florida. Now it's the time to pick up the ballot. You know what I mean? Like
I'm gonna make this count. You gonna feel the effects of
I
this
go
vote
buy
now.
a special pen just for this occasion.
Get special reading glasses.
You get special, little bifocal glasses. Put it on the bridge of my nose, look down. Maybe grow my beard out since it's getting all fucking gray, and just grow it out and just check a box. And I take an extra 10 minutes to check all those boxes, and then I just hand it in. I did vote though. I did vote for the governor of New Jersey. Absolutely, I did. Didn't matter, but I still voted.
I have voted once. And if I say that, people can roast me all they want. That's fine. I've only ever voted once. I get it's my right, and it's a blah blah blah. Well, it's also my right not to, and I just don't give a shit.
You're right.
But I voted once, and that was solely in the last governor election in Kentucky because Matt Bevin is a giant piece of shit. So I was just like, nope, get him out of here.
Is he a Democrat or Republican?
He was a Republican.
Really?
He was
He's
just
a piece of shit.
An absolute piece of shit. Yeah.
I'm not trying to play sides, but that's a little weird to see a Republican be. Why was he a piece of shit? What did he do? Or what didn't he do?
Everything he wanted to do, like the things he would talk about doing, seemed like way out there. So I know a lot of stuff. Like he kept striking down gambling in Kentucky, which I really don't understand. Like, just take the damn money and stop.
That's a
Like, we
Republican
need it.
thing. Republicans
we're
don't like that. I don't know why. I don't know
we're
why.
freaking poor. Just take the damn money. Like shit. Like, but besides that, um, he did a whole lot of stuff where he was like putting like what was it? Like friends into positions of power.
Mm,
So it's all
what's that called?
sketchy shit.
Oh.
Nepotism?
Yes.
It's nepotism, right?
Yeah, I
Nepotism.
think
Okay.
so. Yeah, it was just everything. It seemed sketchy as hell, and when he talked, he just seemed like he was a giant twat, and he didn't do anything like he would say he would do, and it was all talking straight out the side of his neck while trying to convince you he's not actually doing what he's doing. So
Yeah, it's
it's
tough.
kind of rough,
Yeah,
and it
I
was
mean,
just not doing good.
but he was pro Second Amendment. I mean, being in Kentucky, having open carry or concealed. I always fuck
We
this
have
up.
both.
But for open carry, you need a special license. Concealed carry,
No,
you don't.
not in Kentucky. No, if you want to think of it for Kentucky, it's just we have the Second Amendment. That's what we have.
So I can just go buy a
So it's
handgun
kind
and
of
just
like
walk down the street with it on my side like a cowboy.
yeah, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, but most states have concealed carries, okay, but
Yeah.
open carry usually you have to have a permit for.
Yeah. A lot of
Okay.
states are like that.
That's weird.
Yeah,
You think it'd be the other way around? Like being concealed, you have to have a license because nobody knows you have it. Versus,
Yeah.
oh, he's got a 40. And let me ask you something. You're into handguns, right?
Yeah.
No, you say it with doubt.
No, yeah,
Not
yeah. I
quite
mean,
sure.
I've got a few. I'm just firearms in general.
What,
Yeah.
what do you do? What do you do? 9mm?
I prefer
40s?
9.
9? Okay.
Yeah.
This is gonna sound like a stupid question. It's gonna sound dumb, but I don't care. I'll put myself out there. I fired pistols and rifles, grenade launchers, my whole life, right? Well, not grenade launchers. I wasn't 12, firing at the newspaper boy. But I always belonged to an NRA. Me and my dad used to go down to Englishtown, New Jersey, to the gun club and shoot, right? But I've always wondered this. I am gonna sound so fucking stupid right now. A 45, right? As a .45, right? That's the size of the round, right?
Yeah.
9mm is the size of the round, right? When you take a 9mm, when you take a 9mm, a parabellum, right? Just a round, and you take a 45. The 45 is bigger than the 9, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, much bigger.
So then why don't they call? Because they have 10mm rounds, right? They have 11mm rounds.
Yes.
So why don't they? Why? Okay. There's two questions. Why is the 45? You can't say 45 caliber because it's not 45 caliber. So what do you call it? 45 ACP?
Yeah, usually.
Okay,
But
okay.
if you're gonna
I know what an ACP is, but let's dumb it down a little bit. I guess what I'm getting at here is if you take a 45 and you take a 9mm, the rounds or the pistols, you take the pistols just by themselves. They're very similar looking. Very similar.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
When you take that round that goes into the 45, what do you call them when you go to the range? When you're like, or whatever, you gonna load it up. You're gonna go to the store and be like, hey, I want to get rounds for my 45. What do you call them? Do you say 45 ACP?
No, usually you would just say 45. Like I want to get a box of 45 ammunition, whatever.
Couldn't one mistake that for 45mm?
If whatever range you're at is selling 45mm, I think, well, one, you're gonna have a really good time, and
You're
two,
gonna have a blast. I promise you that.
I think when he hits total on the register, you're gonna catch that one.
Right, especially if it's 1,000 rounds. That's
yeah. What the fuck did you just ring me out for?
But why don't they? But why don't they call that a millimeter size? That's the question. Why don't they call that? I don't know. A 10mm, right? Or why is it called the 45 ACP?
Yeah, I
Why?
think it's because whatever the convention was at the time of its release, right? Because 9mm is a relatively new round in comparison to 45. Because you think about it, it started with like muzzle loaders with ball ammunition, right? And that's probably the closest thing. Usually, like a 50 caliber ball is probably pretty standard for what a muzzle loader would use. And then you went on to the Colt came out and it shot what is it?
38, no?
It wasn't. It might have been 38, but I think it was.
You're talking about the old six
Oh, crap.
shooters?
Yeah. Like the original.
I don't
one.
think those are
Like,
38s. I don't think.
no,
that's
they're not 45 either. It's another one. It's another weird one, but it's old. And I think back then, it was by caliber, which is 0.45. It's a 0.45 caliber is the actual measurement. That's not a measurement of diameter or anything like that.
Makes sense.
And then as we've come further, right, it's kind of like if you compare what the Army's talking about going to, because they're looking for their next rifle, right? Yeah. So they're trying to get away from 5.56, which is 5.56 millimeter NATO, or 223, which is 0.223 caliber.
Right.
Or similar, different ballistic properties. They're trying to go to 6.5 Creedmoor. That's a different measurement.
Where did you read that at?
A lot of the new, like the ones SIG is developing have been for like a 6.5 Creedmoor round or something similar to it. Yeah, that's what I've seen a lot of.
Really? I did not know that the military was trying to phase out the 5.56. I mean, you've been using that since fucking
forever.
Vietnam?
I know.
Before Vietnam. I don't. Well, no, the M16A1 I think was in Vietnam right before, so 70s. They used to think that Mattel made it because it was like a toy, when you
it doesn't look
right. It doesn't look
like a firearm.
Right,
it looks very compact.
And it doesn't feel like one either.
Yeah.
It feels like I don't want to say a toy, just a vape mod, for lack of better terms.
Kinda, it's interesting because it is it's like an extension of your. It really is just a toy,
it is.
Right?
It is.
That's all they are. But like, I feel like if you're gonna make an argument against firearms of the Second Amendment, like that's fine, but let's go shooting first, then we'll talk.
I think a lot of
that's
people.
What I need you to have.
I think the reason behind the Second Amendment argument is more people are scared of the weapon, so therefore, you try to get rid of something you're not familiar with. You're whatever you're scared of. But like you said, once someone puts it in their hand, and you're firing either at a silhouette, balloons, whatever, pick your target, watermelons, whatever, right? It's a different mindset, right? Yeah, you might be fearful still behind that handle, behind that trigger, absolutely. But once you get comfortable with it, it's a matter of, okay, it's not that dangerous, right? That's not saying that. Oh, hold on. We're on YouTube, so I'm not too worried about it. But I'm not saying that handguns themselves are not dangerous. What I'm saying is, by themselves on a table, they are not dangerous. It's just, it's the same shit as an out the front blade just sitting down. If nothing is near it, it's not dangerous. It's fine. If something touches it, yes, it can become dangerous, right? So, I think if you took a lot of these people that are, I don't want to say anti-gun laws, but anti-carry, I think there'd be a different perspective. I think there would be. I think people would be like, okay, it's not as bad. And I do have this argument. I'm sure we're going to have a debate about this. But what would be the reason for someone like you that doesn't do anything to have? I know you can't have the M4 carbine, right? So let's just say, can you have a carbine? No, you can modify an AR to be as close as possible to a carbine than actually owning an M4 carbine, right?
Yeah. The only way I can have an automatic weapon, anyone in the States, it's his ATF ruling, is it has to be pre the 1982 ban. So when automatic weapons were banned in 1982,
definitely no.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a definite.
But like a Thompson, back from the 20s, you can have a Thompson that's fully auto and it's completely legal, assuming that the manufacture date is pre-1982.
Whoa. Hold on.
Yes,
hold
sir.
on. No, that can't be right.
It is.
That there's no way that can be right. There's got to be a stipulation in there. You're telling me that if I could find a Thompson that belonged to Al Capone and his cronies, I
Uh-huh.
could have that and use it at a range. No fucking way
can.
do I believe that. No way.
Do
No
you want
way.
to know how much you're going to pay for that, Thompson?
Probably
Because
about
a
90
legal,
grand.
yeah, a legal full auto weapon is many tens of thousands of dollars minimum, regardless of condition.
Is that because of the taxes that go along with it, or is it because people know that they can't really get automatic weapons, so they charge up for something that,
That's exactly, yeah. It's the latter there. It's because you can't create any more 1980 pre 1982 fully automatic weapons. There's only so many that were ever there on
What
the
round
market.
does the Thompson fire?
Shoot, I have no idea what
Got to
it
be a
fired.
short shell. Has to be a short shell.
Yeah, I mean, it would be something equivalent to like a somewhere around whatever the 9mm was then. I would imagine.
So you're saying that you can own a machine gun legally and you don't have to do any paperwork?
No, I don't. I don't think you have to. I don't. I didn't look. I didn't look into the filling out the paperwork part because I can't afford a $30,000 firearm. So,
So if you get an
um,
automatic rifle that's made from 1979 by law, that's legal.
yes. So, like when we had all in past wars where they would bring home trophies, and that's how we got all. That's how they got Tommy guns in the first place, right? But
It's
even
a
things
45. How about that?
yeah,
That's wow.
that makes sense. Yeah,
Wow.
that's what it is. It's hard to remember.
Wow, that'll put some fucking damage on somebody, boy.
Right? Fucking nice little round drum action, fucking full on gangster.
Looking like Swiss cheese in about 8 seconds. Wow. I was so, but what happened in 1982? Why that's the grandfather date? Is that when they passed the law?
Yes. Yeah, Congress enacted the whatever I forget what it's called. It's something stupid, but yeah, that's the date.
That's interesting.
Which, yeah, people don't know this kind of stuff. Like, it's not, and it's because like firearm laws are super convoluted. Like, if you think like traffic laws are stupid, like if you really look into the wording or the things that aren't necessarily legal or what consists of a rolling stop sign or something, that's convoluted. The problem with gun laws is because not a lot of it is defined in actual written law, the ATF can basically make a mandate per se and that's why there was a whole thing about those bump stocks a couple years ago, because the ATF went back and forth on it. Like, they just kept saying, yeah, they're fine. No, they're not fine. No, they're like, you can't just be like, hey, all of a sudden all these people are felons because they have this item that you said was legal and now you decided it's not.
So and it is legal now, right? It's illegal, not illegal.
It's illegal. Yeah, it's technically illegal.
Oh, it is illegal, so you cannot have it.
Yeah, they banned it after the whole Vegas thing, and it was a whole
Yeah, but he didn't use a bump stock. Didn't he have an AR-15?
Yeah, no, he had literally like 15 different rifles, and they were all.
Wait, well, were you talking about the thing with the where they're doing the concert?
Yeah,
I thought he had an AR-15.
He probably had one. He probably had 6.
Like, shut up! Are you for real?
He had to. For the amount of rounds you can hear going off, that barrel would have melted if he was just spraying for that long.
Vegas shooter. Hold on. Hotel concert weapon. I thought he just had just a.
It wasn't just one.
Wow, he was 64 years old. Particularly with regard to bump stocks, yeah, you're right. That was kind of the push to.
That's what they blamed, but then anybody who knows firearms was kind of like, that doesn't make any sense. A bump stock is literally like a gimmick. You can't be accurate with it. That's the whole point of, like, it's the way it's designed is impossible. Also, you can do the same thing with a belt loop, but
no, I mean, they found 14 AR-15s in his house. There's too much to read. If someone can read into this and just not guess as to what they found, because
there's not enough info either.
Here we go. With frequent help from the hotel bellman, he brought 5 suitcases to his room, 6 on the 30th and 2 on October 1st. His arsenal of weapons, associated equipment, and ammunition included 14 AR-15s. Some equipped with bump stocks, and 12 of which had 100-round magazines. 8 AR. What the hell's an AR-10?
It's a shoots a 308 instead of a 5.56.
Okay, an AR-10 a bolt action rifle, and a revolver. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
See, but you see shit like that, right? You see, and that, no offense, this makes the weapon situation in America a bad. It looks bad, right? It looks bad, right? And you see these people with the school shootings. It looks bad.
Yeah.
And you know damn well when it happens, then the NRA is like, fuck, shit, here we go again.
That's because you don't get to hear about all of the times someone legally and properly
Sure.
carrying a
Sure.
firearm and owning a firearm
Sure.
stopped a catastrophe.
Sure, I agree. It's like less of the good news, more of the bad.
Yeah.
And I agree.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know he had 14 fucking rifles in his room. Jiminy Cricket.
He was up there a while before they figured it out.
Yeah, they couldn't find him.
had
I
to.
remember watching that footage. I remember I was watching somebody live. Was it a Twitch? I think it was a Twitch streamer. And they heard something, or they saw a body fall, and they were like, what is this? And they thought that like they were having an overdose on drugs, and it was literally the first shot fired. It was crazy. And then he took his own life, right? Oh, when they finally got to him.
Yeah, when they were finally at the door or whatever. That's I mean, things are gonna happen, right? Like, you take away guns, like, we could go and look at the UK, for example. They have a ton of stabbings, like ridiculous
Yeah, but
amount
no
of
gun
stabbings.
problems. But no gun problems.
No, but does that matter? Like, there was the one a few years back where the guy with a knife was on like a bus and he took out like 12 people.
Yeah, I remember.
Like,
that. Okay, but all right. Okay. You say, is there a difference? I say, yes, there is. There's a huge difference, because I'm not saying to take them away. I don't agree with that. But I do think that there has to be some type of guideline as to the Second Amendment. You can't just say any machine gun that's pre-1982 is able to be used. My question would be, in what context? Why would, aside from collectability, why would you need to, even if you're collecting it, why would you use it? That's a legitimate question. Why would you use it?
I think the only reason you would use it is simply for fun. See, a lot of that kind of stuff is most of the time, if somebody owns something like that pre-1982 that is a collector's piece, they're going to be a law-abiding citizen, right? It's because somebody who's going to go break the law isn't going to go fork over $40K to go and shoot something when they could just pull the trigger individually each time. So I think that's where it kind of falls into is, do you need a fully automatic weapon? No, you do not.
I don't think anybody does.
There's no reason for it, especially in a private situation, right? Like, it's one thing, the military has it. What do you fucking do? The military makes sense because you're literally in a battlefield. Like,
and you're even taught, though, I mean, even in basic training, right, when you're using the the M16A2s, right, the A1 and the A2, was the difference was safety. A lot of people don't know this. The difference was safety, 3-round burst, and fully automatic, right? No, I'm sorry, safety, fire, 3-round burst. That's the A2. The A1 was safety, single fire, and automatic. Like, just hold down the trigger. They removed the automatic, I think, in the A2, and they made it just a 3-round burst. I use the M4 a lot, more so the 9mm, being as an MP, but we did carry M4s. I just, I can't remember if it had fully automatic. I don't think it did. I think it had 3-round burst. So,
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I don't think someone would have to correct. Yeah, and the problem is you have at that point, right, with the A1, M16A1, fully automatic is so inaccurate, right? Like, it's accurate for a single shot or even a 3-round burst. You'll hit 2 out of those 3. Fully automatic, you know what happens to that muzzle? That shit is all over the place. Like, it is. I don't care how strong you are. It's like this. You know, you're just spraying at that point, spraying and praying. So I cannot see the reason for anybody to tell me why you would need a fully automatic anything. I am sorry. I can't see the argument. But if it's grandfathered in, it's grandfathered in, and it being the price that it is, that kind of dulls down the option of getting something that is fully automatic that is legal, right? So great. But then you get into the argument is, why does someone need an AK-47? Why would you need that? You don't. You're not going to go hunt with that. There's many other choices you could pick.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I think the problem is when people say, you know, you could say AK-47, which is whatever, but you say AR-15, it's almost like a buzzword, right? People are defining it because of the way it looks. They think, oh, that's military-esque, so it's bad. It's like, yeah, but if I put a bunch of wood furniture on it, like you're not going to know it's an AR-15. It's just depending on how I dress it up.
It has that look. That's why people see, especially when you start putting the rails on it, right? Like, I don't know if you know what rails are. When you start putting the rails on it, you're gonna make it look SWAT teamish, right? Like,
oh yeah, my AR looks like it belongs to
Call of Duty.
It
looks like it belongs in a game, and or in war. So that argument. But no one's going to take time to learn about it. It's just like vape. No one's going to take time to learn anything about it. You're just going to see it for what it is, and that's it. It's a weapon of destruction, weapon of mass destruction, which I do not agree with. I do not feel that any rifle, well, butterfly trigger 50 cal, yeah, that's a weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah, it depends on how you're going to define mass destruction. I mean, if I could shoot something and just the shockwave can knock your head off, it's probably a questionable borderline, I guess.
You know, there was a video I watched a couple of years back, Willet, where it was a hunter, right? And he's out there hunting deer, okay, with a Barrett 50 cal. Okay, okay. For anybody that doesn't know, you don't hunt with that. You don't even hunt people with that. Like, people don't understand. 50 cal is designed for like light armored vehicles. That's what its intent is, or even medium armor. I mean, we're talking about a round this big. That's just the bullet. That's not the casing. The casing about that big. Like, it's a big boy. And how much are the rounds? I think they're like $30 a pop. That
$5. It's $5.
Okay, $5 a pop. Whatever. Yeah. So anyway, this guy's hunting, right? And he's got the GoPro set up, right? He's a little shack, and it's a Barrett, right? Sits there, he loads the clip in. I'm like, I don't know what you're shooting. Are you shooting elephant? Because it looks like the woods, like in Northeast. And you hear the round, pop! You know, shoulder goes back, the kick back, and it's slow motion of the bullet, like not a high-speed camera. It's just like he slows it down to like 100 times slow. Yeah. And like in the distance, you could see a deer. Like you could kind of see it. And then he goes up to, he's like, yeah, hit. You know, he's looking through the scope and you see the deer fall. It's like, nice, hit. I'm like, dude, that deer is going to have just an antler. Like the rest of that deer is going to be a part. So he goes up to the deer and he's looking at it. And he's like, I don't see a bullet hole anywhere. And he picks it up and he flips it over and he's like, I see nothing. And this is all captured on camera, and you could hear his reaction. He's just stunned. He's like, I could have swore I did a headshot, but there's nothing. So he plays it back, and then he kind of zooms in, and it's blurry, but you could see the round hits like a tree to the left of it. But because of the velocity of that round, it sucked everything out of the deer's head, out of its eyeballs.
Oh.
Just that the speed of that round, just like a vacuum. But why are you hunting deer like that? Who hunts a deer with a 50 cal?
Yeah, my first question. You
can't even eat it. Like, are you? Like you're gonna have just toes. Yeah. Like there's nothing left.
Are you hunting or killing?
I
don't think you're hunting.
That's it.
I think if you're hunting, you're pointing is like I'm gonna eat this, so I'm gonna do something with it. You know,
right.
I'm just trying to remove this from existence. Is what you're doing with a 50 cal, because if you do hit it, it's definitely exploding.
It's over. You know, like I was talking to Bree's father, and I can't help but have a lot of respect for this guy, right? He's older, you know, got the gray hair and shit, and he's been hunting his whole life, but he doesn't hunt. He does do it for sport, but the meat goes to good causes. He does the charities. He does it because I didn't know this, but in New Jersey, and I'm sure it's the same way in Kentucky, that if you go hunt deer, right, you can't sell that meat for a profit.
No, no, it makes sense though, right? Because it has
It
to be
does. You
regulated.
can't. You're right. And then you're only you could kill as many fawn as you want, as many doe as you want. Typically, deer hunters won't kill does; they'll kill fawns. As long as it doesn't have the white spots, which is a yearling, right? I learned a lot about hunting, which is fascinating, by the way. But so usually they want the young ones because the meat is better, right? And the older the deer is, the worse meat it is to eat, just because it's old. So you may get like an 8-pointer or a 10-pointer. That's the tips, right?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah,
You may get that, but then you don't want to eat it because it's too tough, right? So they want the young ones anyway. So he was explaining that. I said, so what do you do with them when you do it? Do you do it just for the fuck of it, just to do it? And he does bow. He doesn't do gun. Only hunts with bow, which is, to me, that's a man. Like, you want the definition of a man? It's not somebody to sit in a tree stand with a rifle. It's somebody sitting there with a recurve bow, right? A recurve. Okay, you got to have a certain set of skills here. Like, you got to factor in, like, there's a lot, right? But he's out here hunting this, and then he's like, I said, what do you do with the pelts? He basically just throws them away because they're a pain in the ass to tan. But all the meat, he gives it to he gives the pelt to a butcher that sends it out to be tanned, and then they make like blankets out of it for like homeless people. Super cool. And then the meat, and well, this is not racist for anybody that thinks that this is racist. It's just specifying. He goes to like Home Depots and gives it to Mexicans, and they make like soups out of it, and they make meat because you can't sell it. I find that fascinating. I don't see anything wrong with that. Especially deer, to me, in New Jersey, are a pest. They take more lives than people that take deer's lives. Does that make sense? Jumping across streets, highways.
Sure. Yeah, some of the pests in the world are really weird, but my dad does that same kind of thing, except the opposite side of it. Some of the doctors he works for, they do hunt, but they're all loaded, so they ain't got anything to do with the deer. They aren't going to take time to do anything with it. So they'll get the deer, and then he'll take it they'll take it to be processed, right, so that he can do something with it.
Sure.
And then he goes and picks up the meat, and he can do whatever he wants with it. And I mean, my dad's kind of like Jay Miller in the sense that he really likes he likes cooking. It's his hobby, right? It's not his job. His career is a surgical assistant, but his hobby is being a chef of sorts. So he has a lot of fun with that stuff, and he'll do jerky or sometimes chili, or even just deer steaks, even chili. Sometimes. So, yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah, it is good.
Really?
Yeah, we're talking like kind of like football style chili, right? Not like not like Coney style chili. We're talking like actual eating a bowl of chili. But yeah, it's like in place of using ground beef or whatever. Yeah, you choose ground deer meat.
I don't know. Anytime I've ever had venison, man, it's just gamey. Like, it's not.
It needs a lot of help.
What's that?
It needs a lot of help.
Oh, like a lot of spices and tenderizing.
You gotta treat it right.
Right. I could see that. Yeah, hey, look, if you want to go, I do have a problem with someone that just hunts for sport and just leaves the animal. Like,
yeah, it's got to serve a purpose.
Yeah, and that's a thing, right? Like trophy hunters, like big game hunters, they'll pay, rich people pay 20 grand to go out and go kill an elephant. I love elephants. I'm not saying you can't do it. It's just me personally, I feel a certain type of way about just going to take an animal's life just for whatever, just to say you killed it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like, full on pagan or anything like that and need to say a prayer over it and thank Mother Earth after I kill an animal or something. But like, I don't see a purpose of just taking, like, to me, it's just like taking a life in a sense. It's like, what is this animal doing? It's just walking along, and here you are with a fucking you got a fucking elephant gun that shoots this freaking round that looks like a 9mm on crack. It's like this, and it just, what are you doing? You're cheating. Stop. Leave it alone. Like, I don't care how much.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Kill an elephant.
It's like same thing. There's actually, I swear this is a real thing. So tigers, right? There's more tigers in captivity in the United States than there is in the wild, right? And that's been that way for a long time, right? Um, but there's a thing where you could go to India. Man, I had to dig for this. Just interested, not like I'm gonna go do it. Just interested, right? Curiosity. I found this site in India that you could pay. Was it 125,000? I think their thing is rupees, right? Rupees, I think it was.
Yeah.
125,000 rupees, whatever that is equivalent to, and you could go kill a tiger.
The fuck for?
To be honest with you, I can't come up with anything aside from just
What
you
do you think
saying.
you're Samson? You fucking in the Bible or something? You reenacting?
I don't know.
your shit?
I do know that it is a delicacy in certain countries, but find a new delicacy. I don't know. Eat something else.
Some people.
I don't know.
You don't know if you like it if you don't try it at least once, right? That keeps getting thrown.
That's
back.
your argument. That's your argument.
I know,
So
right? That's what
I
I
pose
said
the argument to you.
sarcastically.
Go take your ass to India. Go take down a tiger, and let me know how it tastes and feels. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I want to taste this. Let's go fight a fucking tiger.
Now I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've tried lion before. I've never had tiger, but I'll tell you what. If you said, "Hey, I got some tiger steak," I would try it. I mean, it's already
I
dead.
You'd try it if you had it.
Yeah, it's already
but I'm
dead.
not going to participate in killing it. Like,
right. Sure.
It doesn't need to die. Just wait for it to die on its own. We'll figure it out, I guess. I don't know.
You can't let an animal die naturally and eat it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You can't let an animal die naturally. You have to bleed it out so it doesn't spoil the meat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but if you didn't know, you know what I mean? Like, or if you knew it was going to die, you could kind of just assist it instead of letting it suffer, right? I mean, that would make more sense.
If you want to go more politically correct, sure.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
It's not like you're just killing it for the sole purpose of, yeah, let me just take a little bit of its thigh and just throw the rest in the trash and see how this tastes. Like,
I can't stand. Again, I'm not one of those people. I'm not going to be an activist, with a little thing with a sign, free the tigers. I'm not going to be that guy. Just, me personally, if you told me you did it, I'd ask why. But I just don't see a purpose in it. I really don't. It's very hard for me to wrap my head as to why people do that. It's like shark. Yeah, that's sure. Kill them up. Eat them up. They're all in the ocean. Who cares?
If there's a plethora of something, then it's not a big deal, right? It makes sense. If it's meant for eating, not even meant for eating, but if there's plenty of them, then it's not going to hurt something. But when you're like, hey, we only got so many tigers, stop fucking killing them. Like, they're there for a purpose, right? It's not like things just exist in nature to just exist. They usually have some sort of effect.
What's the purpose of the platypus?
Fuck me. I'm pretty sure that's just a living dinosaur at this point. I'm not really like, that's just like, hey, this is how far you've come.
It's a mammal that lays eggs. It's not the only one. The echidna also does that. It's a mammal that lays eggs, and it's venomous.
Yes.
It's a bird, and it's a reptile. So it's like 4 different species into one. Yeah. I don't think that has much
straight up. Stephen King came up with that one and just let it loose. Somebody like that, probably what started in Wuhan, and then now we've gotten to other things, like that they're just doing whatever in labs, and somebody Frankensteined a platypus because putting a duck bill on a fucking venomous monster makes sense to me.
It makes no sense. You know what I was speaking of like old shit. You know about dodo birds, right? How we have this mindset. You have to look up dodo birds. If you look them up, they were actually more intelligent than what people perceive them to be, number one. And number two, they're not as pictures depict them to be. Dodo birds were fucking massive. They weren't small.
Like bigger than ostriches?
Like an emu. You know what an emu is?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like an emu with a big bill. There's actually a bird now. Hold on. Look, I put this on Facebook. If you want to talk about something else, you can talk about something else.
No, you know what I find funny is like when like animals you would think would be harmless, like when you see a video and then it's just beating somebody's ass. Like you walked up to an ostrich and thought it was a good day to be like, let me fuck with this thing. And that is entertainment, right? Because when you see somebody get their ass beat by an ostrich, like, what are you gonna do? I'm not gonna even walk up to a fucking goose that's angry. I'm running.
So this is the shoebill. This would be considered like a modern day dodo bird.
Oh, its legs are weird.
Yeah, it's kind of
It
like
looks like it's like normal.
I don't know. That's a bird I wouldn't fuck with. Right? Look at his face.
I
Yeah,
think
but
I've
that
heard one of these. Don't they sound weird?
yeah, they're very loud and boisterous
Yeah.
animal.
It's like scary. Like it sounds like something out of like a fucking like a scary video game or something, like
Well,
Siren Head or some shit.
but that's what they say. Siren Head, isn't that Silent Hill? The guy with the
Yes.
pyramid,
Yeah.
right?
No, the pyramid. No, Siren Head's from a different game, I think. It's the big tall thing that walks out in the shadows, almost looks like Slenderman, kinda. I
You
forget what
watch
game
too many
it is.
cartoons. I got nothing.
No, these are all from video games or internet rumors, I guess.
I'm thinking of Pyramid Head that
Yeah,
drags
Pyramid
the
Head from Silent Hill. Yeah,
yeah, drags
kind of
the
same thing.
yeah. But did you know they did some research on dinosaurs and they found out that they don't make those roars that you hear. They sound like birds. Like
That would,
they whistle.
yeah, because they're very similar, aren't they?
Yeah, a
Like I
bird
heard
is a
they made the
reptile.
T-Rex, like the T-Rex had feathers or some shit. They keep saying nowadays. It's
Yep.
like,
And the
is this,
Velociraptor didn't look like how it did in Jurassic Park. It's more birdy looking, like it.
chickeny,
Yeah,
giant angry chicken.
an aggressive chicken. Yeah. Yeah, but birds are reptiles. They are, but people don't want to.
Yeah.
It is. It's a reptile. It's very related
That
to.
stuff's weird when you think about that. Like, even then, you think about just that. Wait, we found this fossil. Okay, well, I get carbon dating's a thing, but how the hell did you come up that it's 264,563,074 years old?
That is fascinating,
Like,
isn't it? That you can just look at a
that's
bone
how'd
and
you do?
just gauge it like a tree.
Yeah,
Because
like it's
trees
got
have the
rings on it.
rings, right? I don't know
Yeah.
how you look at a fossil and you get literally a precise year that it was made.
I don't know.
But we can't figure out who
sometimes
killed somebody 2 days ago.
Nobody saw anything. There's cameras everywhere. I don't know. He avoided all of them. I don't know, but we know what this T-Rex had for lunch 47 million years ago.
Yep, looking at the stomach and shit. Yeah. I'm like, how do you know it has a scar if you don't have the skin? You just kind of pick that up.
Yeah.
Wow. Fascinating.
I don't know.
Hmm.
Sometimes I feel like people just come up with stuff and then people are in a room like, yep, we're going to go with that one. Start telling people. Like,
Bree, what are you doing?
this is how they made the pyramids. I mean, I guess, but why aren't we making pyramids then? Because it seems awfully difficult to me. So,
And they still haven't figured out how those are made, right? They still don't know.
yeah, they just kind of guess. Yeah, they're just like, we think it's this. There's nobody
what's
really knows.
what's the majority consensus say that it's
Well, they think that they were just like basically when a pharaoh was made pharaoh,
right?
that they just took all the slaves and they were like, hey, start building his tomb. And
But how did they move the
he's there-
rocks? Because that was the problem. Is how did you
Yeah,
like they've tried to figure out ropes and use of elephants, and it still doesn't make any sense as to how you would get it so high. How?
no idea. I mean, a simple machine makes sense, right? They were really good at using pulleys and things like that, but that doesn't add up to me.
What
Like-
if the pyramids were actually carved out of the earth? What if the earth was that high and the pyramid is basically a catacomb? You understand what I'm saying? So
And they're going to get that done in
right
40
now.
years?
We take the ground right now. We just start shaving out, a triangle, for lack of better terms, and make it 3D, right? Or 4-dimensional, 3-dimensional, and no, or 4-dimensional. And now it's down, but then as the years go by, it withers away, and then that's what we have.
I mean, that seems like that would probably be easier than building it.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
are you going to tell me that got done in like 40 years? Like, because the life expectancy of pharaohs, it's not like they were living for 110 years or some shit.
Was it really only
You know.
40?
Yeah, it was pretty
yeah,
young.
that's right. Yeah, they were young. Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, we could
I don't
figure
know.
out ways to go to outer space, but we can't figure out ways to go into the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like like they do renderings of what the pyramids would have looked like when they were new. That stuff, they were fucking gorgeous, like perfectly smooth on the side, like all fresh limestone with a gold top cap. Like I could only imagine what that would have been like to see in person.
You think it was
That
done by people? Like, you don't think animals were
uh
involved?
well, that depends. Do I want to use the crazy part of my brain
Oh,
or the
you're gonna
sane
say
part of my
aliens.
brain?
Oh God.
I'm not gonna say
You're
aliens.
one
I'm
of
just gonna say I
those.
don't know how the fuck they did it.
There are so many
It
people
doesn't
that
make
believe
sense.
aliens made it. So many. If aliens made it, then how are there human beings inside of it?
Well,
Oh God.
how are you going to define alien? Because if they went to
Anything
Israel
that's
and
not from
gathered
the
up a
earth.
bunch of Jews, okay, well then I don't
Anything
know.
that came from the sky that doesn't look like a human being.
I can't. I don't know. Would I want to say that it was aliens? Yes, I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be
But you
cool.
don't
But
genuinely believe that.
no, I don't.
Okay. Okay.
I just want to know how the hell they did it.
So
Like,
do I. I'd be very interested to. And I think at this point nobody knows. It's all conspiracies, right? Like nobody.
yeah,
You don't
nobody
have
has any.
any schematics like how to make a pyramid.
Yeah, the same thing with like what the Easter Island heads that are like literally like
Oh, the
40
big
feet in the
stones.
ground. Like how did they make these giant sculptures and why are only their heads showing? So
But they don't
like
have a body, right? It's just the heads.
no, some of them have bodies. They've actually dug up one of them. Like they
The,
literally are like 30 feet tall.
you're talking about the Easter Island heads, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that they had bodies.
Yeah, that's what's weird. And they're like everybody's using like radar and sonar and all these scanning things to see new stuff. Like I think I saw a thing where they found like a pyramid in the Amazon because they were using satellite images, like
Shut
infrared
up.
satellite images, and they could see like an outline of it or whatever. Like there's crazy shit that we just don't know exists.
Well, that's like Atlantis, right? That's a real thing, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
city that's under an ocean, right? So
yeah. I think it is.
that kind of goes into what I'm saying with the pyramid, right? So that's supposed to be that is a real thing, right? Or is it just fake?
No, like I mean, is it factual? We're assuming that it is based off of like documents they've found, right?
Oh, so there's never been any findings of
Not necessarily confirmation. No.
Okay, because if that was the case, then that kind of backs up my theory that the pyramid was built underground, all that dirt went in, and then the water. I'm trying to justify why there's.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things you just almost like I don't want to give up, but I feel like I have to.
Yeah, now I'm telling you that's the rest of what my
Yeah,
day is going to consist of. Me Googling
yes,
where's Atlantis. And
it's like how do I build a scale model of this? Like, what if we found the library at Alexandria, right? But it burned. So what if we found stuff from it because that was like the biggest collection of knowledge at the world at the time? Like how many answers would we have if we had that kind of stuff?
man, books from that far ago? Oh my.
Oh man. That stuff seems so that's the cool part of like history and far back history is we have so much we don't know that it's almost like speculative. Even if we have some sort of evidence, we still don't know. We could be completely wrong. Like it's just a guess, right? Like and there are plenty of people who if you don't see something, then how do you believe it? So I don't know. But it's so weird that you have the similarities of what Central America was like and then the Egyptian Empire. Like, how are those two so similar when they're on the
And they're
opposite
so
sides of
far
the world?
apart. Yeah, so far
Yeah.
apart. Mayans, Aztecs, same shit. Same shit. Pyramids, buildings, work, and they all did sacrificing, all of them.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was big business right there. They were. I read something. I don't know how they would ever know this,
It's
but
a
I read
big
something and it said
business.
that when they opened one of their like big pyramids, the Aztecs or whatever, like their biggest pyramid, and they finally opened it for the worship or whatever like that, they sacrificed something like 40,000 people in like 3 days. Like, how do you know that for one? But also, that's crazy. No way. Like you're just cutting off
Wow.
heads.
Well, that's that. Wow. Yeah, I know you. I mean, even if you, I get it. They're movies, but even if you look at things like, was it not Gladiator? At the end of the movie, they're throwing people into a pit of fire. Is it Gladiator? No, it's not Gladiator. Troy, maybe.
There
I
was
don't.
one about Central America. It was about like the Aztecs. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, a lot of sacrificing of humans for rain and crops and shit like that. And you, I guess that's the definition of a cult, right? But that's what society
They just
was.
had people to kill, I guess. I don't know. Fuck.
But like you say, it's across the world. But at that time, right, the continents might have been closer together. So maybe, I think it's just all hypothesis. It's just what we see. And then we're just going
Has
to
to
make an educated guess as to how this happened. That's it.
has to. There's no way it's not. Like you just can't know. Like even if you could be like I am really really sure, you're not sure enough because you just can't look into the past. And that's what amazes me about like astronomy, right? To the exact opposite is because of the distance and scale, the things that we see now are literally the past.
Oh, I get what you're saying because it's so far away that by the time we see it, that's already happened.
Yes. Yeah, something else is happening there now. That's kind of crazy, especially when you're talking about light years and you're talking about millions of light years. Like you're literally looking into the past.
So you believe that there's people outside or aliens or superficial things like real other people,
I
for lack of better terms.
I I don't I believe that it's highly likely.
And
Like the
why have we
odds of
not
that,
seen them? Are they too smart to come here? Is that what it is?
I think there's just too many different arguments you could make for that one. Maybe it's
Well,
that
I'm
because our
asking your
technology
argument
isn't,
for it.
I would say that maybe our technology isn't good enough to see into current day. So if there is something there, it just hasn't reached, that light hasn't reached us yet. So we don't know. So anything, oh, we found this other habitable planet.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
but how
us.
far
That's
away is it?
us finding them. But my argument is them finding us.
Oh, well, my argument for that would just be I don't blame them.
You don't want to come here.
It's like you rolling through like a shitty part of town, like roll up the windows, don't look. They won't see us. Like
Do a flyby. Yeah, we're not landing there. Let's go.
yeah. Stay away from them. They're fucking crazy.
I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that there is anything else out there. Because I'm one of those people where it's like I gotta see it to believe it, and if I've never seen it, I can't help but to think it doesn't exist. Like,
It's
like
not a belief
like
per se.
Roswell, right? You know about Roswell with the
Yeah.
aliens that
Yeah.
landed there, but I just don't believe it. I don't. I find a hard time believing that that's real.
Yeah, it's more so that I feel like there's a probability involved that the odds of we're the only ones in this massively large universe. Like
Why is that so hard to believe? Why do people have a hard time believing that?
because of
Because
the
it's
true
so
scale
big?
of the universe. Yeah, because you can't comprehend how big it really is. And for there to be so many different planets and all these different celestial events essentially, and for all of that to be there, there's no way it didn't happen at least one other time, right?
Okay, then I could,
Like,
but I could use the argument and say, okay, well, if you read like, I don't want to call them pirates, but like explorers, right? They would write about the Kraken, right, which they think is real, like a squid that's that deep. And if we can't go
yeah,
that deep to see it, right? How do you know it doesn't exist? Number one, right? Fine. But if they wrote about it in books, you could use the argument, say they were delusional, they didn't have any food, they were seeing shit, hallucinations. But there's even writings of mermaids. Like, how do you know that's not deep in the ocean? That there's not a colony of fucking mermaids swimming around? How do you know?
yeah, this stuff had to come from somewhere, right? Like, it's not like they were doing acid all these years
Right.
ago and they were
Yeah.
just
And not
making
just
it
one
up.
time, but multiple sightings. But then I could use the argument against myself saying, well, if that did exist, why is there no current footage? Right? Everybody's got iPhones, whether you're on a ship or not. Not iPhones, fine. Smartphones, okay? Everybody's got smartphones. where you have a camera on the back of it. So if it was real, you would think with all the people in the world today, you would have a guy filming a mermaid.
That's the same probability thing, right? Like it doesn't make it has to. Like there's just the sheer probability of all the people in the world and all the people with smartphones and all the people all doing different things, traveling the ocean, all this kind of stuff. There has to be some sort of evidence. Like, how is it that nobody has come across this?
Maybe because it doesn't exist. Same thing with aliens.
So where did everyone get the idea? Like, how is it that we've come up with this? You know, it's so weird. I feel like a lot of things, when you make any argument, especially with something that doesn't have a definite answer, it's not only a suspension of disbelief, but it's also with the understanding that you can never say something doesn't exist until you fully know, and you can't necessarily fully know. So there's always that. So that never gets brought up in an argument because it's kind of like agreed upon.
And I think if you tell people that mermaids are real, people are going to think you're fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know about nowadays. Now they'd probably be like, oh, really? Do they have rights? Do we need to give them rights?
Do they have handguns?
How do I become one?
Yeah, it's the same shit with like the Loch Ness Monster, right? Loch Ness Monster in Scotland, Nessie, right? Swimming around. It's one of those Plexiosauruses or some shit. And it's still alive, all by itself for...
Like, what?
Whatever, 500,000 years. It's just swimming around.
It's got to come from somewhere. There's
I don't know. I think it comes... People want the idea... Like, they want to fantasize and believe in that fantasy. And we be in a perfect world where... I guess if you say something enough, people start to believe it. So if Joe says he's seen Nessie, and then Joe tells his sister, and she sees him, and now everybody sees him, because even though it's not real.
There's a politically anti-woke statement to be made in agreeing with what you just said, but I'll leave that one off the table.
No, what is it?
It's pretty easy to say something happened and then everyone just fucking jump on it. So I guess it makes sense.
At this day and age, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go with that. We're going to run with it. That's what we're doing today. We're just running with that. So that's the problem with the world. I mean, too many people don't want evidence of things. So
yeah, they just want to believe.
Kind of like what we were talking about earlier, people don't look up research about what the army uses or whatever, or guns or whatever. People don't want to educate themselves on a topic before they argue it. They just want to take one sentence and then argue that sentence based off of whatever they want to come up with for that argument.
100% agree. 100% agree.
Just get your facts right. That's it.
And you have to be careful about what you say nowadays because you're going to hurt somebody's feelings. And when you hurt their feelings, you're heartless. You're cold. You don't care about how they feel. Yeah. Why should we though? Why should we care about how somebody else feels? Unless that's somebody that is connected to us through family or whatever, relative. Why should you have to bite your tongue because you might make somebody upset?
I don't really think you should. Now, I think there's like a moral part of what you say, right? Like, you're not gonna like actually throw out something about my mother if you know that situation, right? Because morally it's like that's a little too far, even if I'm fucking pissed off right now. But that doesn't mean you're not gonna throw out anything that you can throw out just to try and piss me off, aside from crossing those lines.
Right. And I can agree with that. I can agree. It's always it becomes a personal attack when... absolutely. It will become a personal attack if... I think if you tell somebody that they're... Well, I guess you could use your argument and say, well, treat people how you want to be treated.
But people, like, you can't do that all the time. That's the thing, is people like get so caught up on, oh, this guy was an asshole one time. Yeah, he was emotional. He was angry. It happened. It doesn't mean, like, now that he's calm, is he still doing it? No. Okay, so he's not being a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's over.
It's just, it was a heated debate. It happened. And then it's gone. Like, people, like, it's like they've gotten rid of all sense of logic almost, or common sense, just to... Everything's got to be the biggest issue ever. Like, you don't need to be the center of attention. You really don't. So stop throwing a fit. Like, don't be a Karen. Don't be doing all this other crap where
What's
you're
the
trying to get
male
everyone
version
to
of a
look at-
Karen?
I don't know. Because I know for males, like,
Is
you
it a
get fucking
Barry?
Chad.
I feel
Barry?
it should be a Barry. I don't know many
Fucking
Barry.
Barry?
What's
Yeah, I don't
Barry
feel like-
short for? Barreled?
Is it Bernard, maybe?
Wait, what's Barry short for?
Bartholomew.
Wouldn't that be Bart?
That would be Bart.
What's Barry? Bernard? Barreled?
Barreled.
Well, Harry is short for Harold, right? So Barry would be short for barreled.
Jerry, Gerald, Harry, Harold, barreled. Barreled.
Bernadette
So girl names.
and Bartholomew.
Bartholomew's really an answer.
And Bartholomewlas in European peoples.
They always got to add extra letters over in Europe. It's just you're adding extra shit. You don't need
Well,
more
or
to-
take away. Look at aluminum. Like aluminium. Wait, what? Aluminium. They add an
Yeah.
I in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's
And it's all of Europe. Like, we're the only people in the world to actually say aluminum. Only people. You even speak to people in Canada? Aluminium.
it's funny because that's like passed down, right? It's not aluminium; it is aluminum.
At one point,
Changed.
it was aluminium, but then it's
Yes.
changed. You have to accept that. Right?
Yes.
Like,
But they're not. Just hold
no,
on to
they
it.
don't accept it.
No, like Dan's example of fucking names. Fucking, how did we get Bob from William? How did we get William Bob?
Well,
Bobby.
isn't Bob short for Robert?
Well, there's Robert, yeah, but isn't
Will is-
William? William is another one, isn't it?
For Richard. I don't know.
Oh,
how to
that's a weird one.
That's
Richard
my
to Dick.
name.
Oh, that's my grandpa's name.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense. How did you get
No, it
Dick if there's no K in Richard?
No, I don't really. You'd actually, I don't know why Richard is Dick. Is that something to do with like?
Some Richard at one
I got-
point was a dick, and he just
Yeah.
stuck with it.
Apparently, now they all are. Yeah,
Oh, William
yeah,
is Bill.
yeah.
Bill.
William
That's
and
it.
Bill. Yeah, that's it.
Bob is Robert.
Yeah.
I was wondering where Lance was going to come because I don't know if you remember, but Lance was like, "Yo, I'll come on Inside the Minds." This happens. People say that they'll come on so I can fill up the whole panel, and they never show up.
Well, he probably needs a Saturday, right? I mean, he might be at work, but also maybe it's just nap time right now.
By hand, and the word Richard was too long, so they would shorten it to Rich and Rick. Rhyming names were also common. Eventually, Rick.
Oh, that's
gave way
interesting.
to
Hold on.
the
Can you hear her or no? Hold on.
A little bit.
Try it again. Start from the beginning. Oh, she's coming over. This is interesting.
In the 12th and 13th centuries, everything was written by hand, and Richard nicknames like Rich and Rick were common just to save time. Rhyming nicknames were also common, and eventually Rick gave way to and Hick, while Rich became Hitch. The D word, of course, is the only rhyming nickname that actually stuck around through time.
So there's a movie called Hitch. You ever seen it? So I guess
Yeah.
that's an actual
Yeah, I
name.
love Will Smith.
Yeah, I guess that's an actual name. Hitch. Never heard it.
Yeah, it was short for Richard.
Huh.
It's just whatever that.
I guess Richard was a common name then, because that's like the only name that's like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of shorthands for Richard. Like a lot. There's like 15.
That's quite lazy, I guess. And that's close enough. You're fine. We'll just go with it. That's
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy. It's the only nickname that literally 800 years go by, and we're still using that.
You know what's really awkward when your grandma calls in the kitchen for.
Dick.
Yeah, that's weird.
She's like, "I get some dick in the kitchen.
Is that how she words it? Oh,
Grab me dick."
No, hey D word.
But you could. That could be a sentence.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, go grab me dick. Everybody's touching everybody's crotch. No, the person.
Which one do you want, Gabrielle?
Go get me
The
Dick
first one
real quick.
the first one I was
But
better.
that's
Hey,
how
can I
you'd
get
say
Dick
that in a
53?
sentence. Hey, go get me Jay real quick. Hey, go get me Dick real quick. Like that is a sentence. You gotta be careful
Fucking
with
double
those
take it.
friends.
Grandma, what the fuck did you just say to me?
Go get me Dick. Go get.
You need to calm down. Holy shit. Get your old ass some fucking go to the club or something, Granny. Fuck. It is Thanksgiving. Calm that shit down.
Oh man, how times have
Man.
changed. You know, I do this a lot. You see it on the Twitches when I do the podcast. I do this a lot. I seem like every stream I do, I always look back to how things used to be. Always. Whether we're looking at Ataris, again, you're 30, so maybe your memory reflects back to probably early 2000s, right?
Everything that you've talked about usually in Twitches, I probably know. Like, even going back to an Atari, right? I was talking to you about fucking Bubble Bobble.
Mhm.
Like, it was my mom's favorite game. Her and my aunt would sit and play it for
Nintendo.
hours.
Yeah.
Like,
Great game. Great game.
so, you know, that yes,
But
I am a millennial and was
it's
born
same
in
thing with Bray.
92,
She's the same age as
but
you. You know, you guys
yeah.
are both 29, and it's just you guys both know it. And
we
it's,
were the tweeners. Yeah, like we
Yeah.
understand both of them. So
Wow.
we don't miss out on that.
every
No, it is fun to do though, because like, what if you go like reverse of that instead of just going back to the past stuff? Like we're talking about names and nicknames. We don't take those things out of context like a lot. So if we talk about William Shakespeare, it's always talking about William Shakespeare because we're studying his literature. But did he go by Bill back then? Like,
Well, fun fact for you: if you dig deep enough, William Shakespeare is a fictional character. It's a group of people that wrote shit and labeled themselves as William Shakespeare.
also, it was like a shared pen name.
It's obviously, it's a conspiracy, it's a belief, because there is no actual depiction of William Shakespeare. Like, there's no. Where did I watch that? Was that Netflix where they were digging into, like how they look at history and they kind of look at a bone and they'll say, whatever, like we were talking about, this is X amount of years old. Same thing with William Shakespeare, that he's not a real person. It's just something that somebody believed to be real.
Well, so you couldn't
Awesome.
do that nowadays because everybody wants their own clout for all the fucking shit they come up with. Hey, I wrote Romeo and Juliet, not that fuck. Like,
Right.
you couldn't do that. But then you have more modern ones, I guess. Yeah, it's
Well,
more
who would be a
modern.
modern William Shakespeare today? Who? I mean, I don't read books, but I feel like I should know somebody.
Is it like Stephanie Meyer or somebody like that? Like one of the big book series, like whether it was Twilight or fucking Harry Potter, one of them is written by a pen name, isn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know if it's those two. There might be a different one. It could be like the Hunger Games or something like that, but I feel like it is.
Well, I mean, when you go into the movie side, you have people like James Caan, right? That's the guy that did Avatar, and he did something else. I can't remember.
Well, that's the same thing with music, right? Like you don't really know who wrote the music a lot of times.
It's all ghostwriters.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily ghostwriters a lot. I mean, for a lot of hip hop, and it is, but like for sometimes, like somebody will write a song because they came up with a song and think, I want this person to sing it. Right?
Yeah,
it's
then
kind of like
you have writers, you have composers, you have artists, you
Yeah.
have entertainers. Yes. It's funny you say. I was thinking about that the other day with Eminem. They were doing an interview on him, and he had like all these notepads he was sifting through, and he's reading some of the rhymes and how you can get orange the way that M freestyles. You can get orange to rhyme. It's just how you pronounce the word. You don't pronounce it like orange. You pronounce it like orange, and then you could get rhymes the word with that, or words to rhyme with that. Yeah, but again, if you look at today's generation with hip hop or any genre of music, it doesn't matter. Typically hip hop and pop, right, which is kind of the growing, I don't want to say genre, but we'll say music or your EDM. Anybody can become famous now. Anybody. It doesn't matter. if all you got to do, look at Island Boys, right? You're not talented.
It shouldn't count.
But here's the sad thing, is it does count, right? And now I was browsing through Facebook and I saw an ad, right, that was for like bling jewelry, like watches and grills, and they paid the Island Boys to do it. And all I'm saying is this is a product of exactly what I'm talking about. You have kids and their kids, pants down to your knees, tattoos all over. The jewelry, you could never. If this doesn't work out for you, you're fucked. Right? Like, no one's going to hire you. Ever.
Yeah, that's too much. Like, you're not thinking outside of it, right? And then you don't get enough of the opposite. Who's that NBA player? Fucking, I just was reading it, but I can't, there's too many names, I can't follow it. He's going back to school, right? And he was just talking about how he thinks he's going to miss his 4.0, and then his grades came out the next day and he got a 4.0.
Wow.
Dude's a professional basketball player. Like, that's good shit. Why are we talking about the Island Boys who got face tats? Like, all right, that's cool. That's going to work for one person in this world, and I would say that's going to be Post Malone, because he can be an artist forever. Like, the man is a true artist.
I can agree with that.
Of his hip.
I can agree with that. Absolutely.
But the Island Boys, like, you're no one. You maybe get face tats like after you solidify yourself.
But people don't understand. Well, they don't understand when they're doing this, right? And you throw in the shade. Oh my God, look at these guys. Look at these guys. You're making them more famous. If you just looked at it and said, look at these fucking tards, and just shut it down right there, didn't share it, and everybody took that same motto, you wouldn't make them.
That's it.
It'd be over.
Wow, this sounds like shit. Flip, next one.
That's it.
Like,
it's because people's idea of hate is to get rid of something and really expose it. But I don't think people take a second and realize, wow, if I do share this, I'm going to help them get famous.
Yeah, I mean, what the old saying, there, no publicity is bad publicity. Like, your name's going to become common knowledge.
I've never heard that saying, but I've heard the saying that bad publicity or good is good publicity. But that's good too. No publicity is bad publicity. I agree with that. It's just like Colin Kaepernick. You know who that is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know who that was until he started doing the kneeling.
Yeah.
That's the only way I knew him.
Like, every NFL season, Colin Kaepernick's still unsigned. Yeah, he's not going to get signed. Stop talking about him.
But isn't he signed to Nike? I mean,
oh, yeah, he had a deal with, like, Nike or some shit, but he's not playing football. He practices every day. He's like, yeah, I'm fucking ready. Every time they do an interview, it's like, why are you interviewing him? No one wants him. Literally, there are teams.
So he's a free agent, or he's not signed to any team?
I guess you'd call him a free agent, because he's not signed. He hasn't played in the NFL in probably 4 years at this point.
Shut up. For real?
No, he's not. Like, ever since his contract ended with San Francisco, like, nobody picked him up after that. Because
wait, but don't they have pictures of him, like, at football stadium? Like,
he was an NFL quarterback, and then he knelt for the national anthem, which is how he got, and then he was very boisterous of it. So he became, kind of like the spokesperson for that whole thing. And after that, nobody wanted him. Nobody would give him a contract because I
was not aware of that. I thought he was still on a team somewhere.
Nope.
I bet you wish you didn't kneel then. Like So you're saying he doesn't play for a football team right now?
He does not play for a football team. Nope. He does, like, he makes his money off of whatever advertiser companies pay him, basically, for whatever the fuck he does now. I don't know what the
What does he do then if he doesn't play NFL?
I don't know. Last article I saw about him, he practices.
Now he plays NFL on Twitch on a PlayStation.
Yeah, he's playing Madden. No, he's playing Madden. Like, hey, I had to import this special character named Colin Kaepernick because I'm not on any teams anymore, and it's Madden 21, so we're not gonna have old roster.
Or he still played.
Nope.
But again, that right there is bad publicity. Got you more known to people that didn't even follow NFL.
Yeah, you're a household name now. Like, and that's just because. Like, nobody. It doesn't even. But what's that do for him, right? Like, that's the bad side to it. Yeah, you're a household name, but what is that doing for him?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Especially if you don't have a career that endorses
Yeah.
for what you're speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but don't they all kneel now? Or wasn't that a thing where people were kneeling? That was like a thing that maybe they
It
stopped.
was a lot, but they all stopped because the internet turned against them.
Good.
It was no longer woke anymore, so they stopped doing it.
Good.
And then also team owners told them they were gonna fucking cut
Yeah,
the
because you
contract.
know what, and it's gonna, you could take this how you want to take this. Well, I'm not worried about you. Well, I'm not really worried about you two, but who typically owns football teams?
Rich
That's right.
white people.
Rich white conservatives, and they're gonna say that's not gonna work in my stadium. So,
and even if it's not
this.
rich white conservatives, right? You still have to make sure that you're not alienating part of your fan base because they make you money.
That's right.
Like, hey, the whole team's kneeling. Okay, well, I'm not going to watch those stupid fucks. Like,
yeah, there was a lot of people pissed off.
It doesn't matter what you're doing it for. Find a way that's not going to disrespect other people. Like, there's plenty of people.
But you know what? You even look at you could use that argument that you're saying, but let's flip it the other way. Look at old Super Bowl videos, like halftime. Everybody's got flags, right? They're waving American flags, right? You
proud to be an American.
Yes. And you could use the argument, well, there's some people that are not so proud to be American, right? There is that small bracket. I don't know why you're at a football game, but look at that and look at it now. You don't see that shit. You don't see where people put the flags on the cars after 9/11. They were driving around. Everybody's patriotic for that time. And then afterwards, people took the flags off. Why? You need a bad event to celebrate something good? What the fuck?
That's the bad thing. You just shouldn't have to. You don't need tragedy to come together. Like, that's terrible. I mean, I will say it's probably definitely not common where you are, even though you have many football teams around you. It's probably not as common being in New York, New Jersey area. I mean, it is a little bit more common for, me to see an American flag attached to a giant lifted truck and people rolling coal down the street. But I live.
That's
in Kentucky,
racist, though. That's racist.
Well,
easy up now. That's racist to show that American flag on American.
Yeah, that's racist. That kills me. What was the one thing?
I don't know how an American flag, if anything, an American flag says the exact opposite of racism. The exact opposite. But whatever.
Yeah, it represents everything we've overcome, right?
That's what.
I mean, I get the people. You can't make that argument because you're white. Yeah, I get that I get why you say that.
I don't like that argument.
Understand. I don't like it either, but I can understand why you're saying it. But the problem I have is when you say our national anthem's racist, and now for some reason we have two national anthems playing. Who the fuck voted and chose a separate national anthem based off of?
I didn't think that they actually went through with that. They went through with that?
I feel like it happened at one event, and I don't know what it was.
I know a basketball game they did that.
Eddie, no, I don't live in bumfuck Kentucky. I live right outside a major city, like not New York sized city, but it's still a major city.
Yeah, when you look at Mid-East there, they're considered like Mid-Atlantic East. If you look at that, you'll find more patriotism there than you. And again, this is typical in a conservative state. This is not typical in a democratic state. Those are facts. And I think when Europeans, Eddie, all you guys, Frankie, Jorn, Matthew, when you guys look at Buttons, when you look at us on the news, we could tell you about it all day, right? And you really don't know it until you see it face to face. And when you go down south, like where Cruz is at, you're going to find a lot of people that if you were to see them, you would probably say that there is some racism because the way that
stereotypes happen.
I miss that. I miss the patrioticness. When I was in the military, I loved that. I loved that American flag. I loved putting it on my arm when I was deployed. I loved it. And now it's bad. It's bad to have an American flag. People are sad to see it, because they think it's not. Let me explain this to people that have no idea, right? So in America, there was two flags at one time. There was a CSA flag. Did we pack it? The CSA flag?
The circular one?
Yeah. Okay, so you got a CSA flag, which is your true Confederate flag, not stars and bars. CSA flag and a USA flag, right? The Betsy Ross jammy. Okay, up north, down south CSA. If slavery would have went through and the South would have won, we would have a different flag today. We wouldn't have that red, white, and blue with the 50 stars. Okay, so when you say that there's systemic racism and that flag says racist, so every soldier that puts that, every Marine, every sailor that puts that on their arm, they're all racist? No, man. You got it fucked up. You got it fucked up.
You know, it kills me because we've painted this picture of that's how things are, right? And if you look up anything or you try to find anything online or you listen to news, that's just how that's just the picture they constantly paint. But every time you talk to somebody, if you talk to somebody who's just a normal person, they don't feel that way a lot of times. And I probably the most common people that I get to complain about that kind of crap, whether it be the woke crap or all the racial crap, is like when I get an African American customer and they just start going on about it. Because it's kind of like what you talked about with selling the one wheel jammy to the pilot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you just talk to them and that's just how it happens. You just go talk to them. People just want someone to listen. You don't even have to say anything. They're going to say everything for you. And they just go on and on and on, especially, when they start talking about their car and that leads to somehow I know what you did when you were 3.
Right.
But I get people like that and they always end up on politics or somehow like, oh, this is all bull, especially when I have to explain, hey, I got to order this. It's going to be a little bit because of all the COVID crap and all this stuff. And then they start going on and on about this, diving into every political issue because we mentioned COVID, which I have to. It is affecting work. I'm giving you the reason why I don't have a radio to put in your car right now. I'm sorry, and they go on and on about it. But I find so many people, like, honestly, even people I wouldn't expect to feel that way do not agree with it at all.
Do not agree with what? The racist part?
The image of everything's racist and America is terrible and all this other crap. They don't agree with that. They feel how you and I would feel about it.
I get what you're saying. You don't see what the news and the media portrays online in face. And I can, again, this really goes out to you Europeans. What you see, how I speak, is a general majority of people. It is. There are a lot of people that feel this way. But I think what happened is they just kind of gave up on speaking about it on platforms because they realize they're going to be censored. They're going to delete the post. They're going to fact check it. They're going to tell you that you're wrong. They're going to try to pull up statistics from 20 years ago and use those today. And that is 100% the truth, 100%. But my thing is, though, Willet, I'm online a lot. So I have to consistently fight that battle because I'm that person that still speaks that way. And then, there was even a thing, well, I'm sure they still do it now, but more silently, that people would watch my vape videos and they'd be like, man, that guy's racist for the shit that he says. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
How did you get me using a certain word dictates racism to you? I'm not saying that whites are better than black people. I'm not saying whites are better than Asian people. There's some things Asians do better than what white people do, like cook lo mein. That's not being racist. That's not racist. That's a fact. Like, that's your food. We make burgers better than Asians do. So yeah, that's not racism. If it's a fact and it's true, just because something is not offensive because it offends you. Something is not hatred because you hate the speech. You understand? It's not how it works.
I also don't think it actually offends people. I think they want to say it offends them because it's a buzzword, right? Oh, I can get attention. That's offensive.
And then everybody comes to the rescue.
Yes, exactly. And Frankie, I wasn't saying that African American. I know you're not saying that I am, but I said African Americans because it's a nicer way to say black guy.
Why? Why is it a nicer way to say black guy? Why?
I mean, it's a more politically correct way, I guess. But
Why are you trying to be politically correct?
I don't know, because anything can get twisted the way it gets twisted, I guess.
Well,
But then
what are
again,
you?
saying African American
Wait,
can get
wait. What are you?
A Caucasian. I'm white, I guess. I'm an American.
Well, why don't you say where are you? Where's your family from? Just give me the main line of where your family comes from.
Like Missouri?
No.
Or you mean like
Oh, God.
descendant?
Like genes. Where's your family?
Fucking Europe.
Okay,
I mean,
where?
Europe.
Where? Just give me a country.
Shit, I don't know. It's too many of them.
Just
I guess
fire one off.
go with France.
Okay, so why aren't
That's what
you
my
French
name is.
American? We're done.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
done.
you make sense. You're right.
Right? If we're gonna label black people as African American, then label me as Hungarian American. Don't call me a white person.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Right?
I see what
It's
you're saying.
got to work both ways.
Yeah.
So you're white, you're black, you're Asian, you're Indian, you're Native American, right? It's not racism. It's just describing what you are. The fact that people get offended by that bullshit, oh my God, you got to wake the fuck up. I think the definition of woke is the exact opposite of being awake.
Yeah, it's what I would think woke is not the definition of woke. Like woke to me would be paying attention to what the fuck their people are doing and how you're being manipulated and used. I guess, right?
It's the exact. You're asleep. You're asleep. Somber. That's the word you used.
I never got to explain that. You just had a very calming voice that night. It is what it is. It's kind of like the fact that it's a silent majority nowadays, right? And you were talking about how people just aren't speaking up about it because they're getting silenced. Yeah, because all these platforms are silencing that kind of stuff. But it is the silent majority. We just found that out in our most recent election, where literally the Republicans, it was Republican, swept almost every election that was up. They just straight up took it. So that's why the current government is trying to get everything done before what January 15th or whatever the election day is, because they just took the majority back in 1 year.
Oh, wait, I didn't think it went through. So now the Republicans are
in the Senate. The Republicans
it's a
took back the
Republican
Senate.
majority now?
It will be in January. They don't take office until January, but yeah, it will be. They'll have 51 seats. So
yeah, and they're stressing, right? Like even the Democrats are saying that they're stressing that there's more that Republicans are fighting hard and Democrats are kind of laying down. That goes back into you're not woke, you're asleep. You need to wake the fuck up, right? Like,
I knew I shouldn't have said fucking France. Fucking, they're just going on and on. Like that's what my last name is. That's why I said France. If anything,
is it really? It's French.
Willet? Yeah, it would be Willet if you were gonna pronounce it French. But
that's nice.
As I tell people, it's American because
it kind of rhymes.
I'm not like you. I'm not like you where you're from Hungary, right? Like you spoke Hungarian. You're recently to America. Like everything I know from my roots is we've been here plenty long to where I don't have a European heritage.
Well, you're third generation. You're more than third generation, right? Because
I would have to be, yeah.
Yeah, because first generation, second generation, third generation is considered basically blood.
Because my grandparents were here for sure. My great grandparents as well. So yeah, it's been a while. So
right. Yeah, I say that politically correct bullshit. Watching what you say because it'll hurt somebody's feelings. You know what, man? And like now we're supposed to accept, right? Society as a whole is supposed to accept gay people, right? Like they're normal people like me and you. They just prefer a different thing, and that's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
So then why are people still calling each other gay nowadays? How's that woke? A conservative wouldn't do that, right? They wouldn't.
Yeah.
A Democrat wouldn't do that because they're woke. So then what is the branch? You're just an independent at that point. because you're just
Yeah, people think that people aren't accepting because oh, you don't make you made a gay joke so you're homophobic, you made an Asian joke so you're a xenophobe, you made this so you're this.
the
Like,
label.
one, stop fucking labeling me,
That's it.
and two, would you learn to fucking laugh, please? Holy shit.
Get some
Like,
sarcasm. Yep.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
just fucking shooting the shit. We're gonna say whatever. Y'all motherfuckers never played video games growing up, I can tell, because if you did, you wouldn't be so damn soft. Like,
That's so true.
like that should be part of education, is go sit through a Call of Duty lobby for a couple hours a week. Like, that's what you got to do. You're gonna get called some fucked up shit. 86 people had sex with your mother, and you
Yeah.
have no idea what goes on behind your back because there's somebody fucking somehow your dad and your sister at the same time,
Yeah,
and it just gets weird.
I feel when you look at game, right, and I will say in a real life scenario, you'll never see the type of maturity level, even though it's a lack thereof. You'll never see people act that way in real life. So, and that's where I get into the whole bullying thing. Having a daughter that suffered through bullying, I it's tough because it's a degree of bullying, right? To where we say, is this acceptable or not? And I was bullied, right? I was beat up, but I think that's a necessary evil to get tougher skin, to be able to take someone that may be snarky to you in 20 years from now and just kind of brush it off and not get offended, right? And because of here's a very philosophical way of looking at this, and just hear me out. That if we weren't, and YouTube, I want you to understand what I'm saying here. If we weren't so soft and we weren't so woke and we allowed that to happen, the generation of the kids today would be much tougher. They would be a lot stronger. They'd be able to take words and not get offended. And that applies to social media platform, who doesn't necessarily get offended, but they'd rather silence somebody that has a little voice than to silence a group of people, right?
Yeah.
Just because we silence the little people, it's no big deal. But now the little people, for lack of better terms, are the ones suffering because they can't say what they want to say. I don't necessarily agree with platforms being able to censor people, but at the same time, it's their platform to do what they want. And if that's the decision that they make, that's the decision that they make. There's you have to accept it. If you don't accept it, then you leave the platform. It's that simple. But I think the majority of people are, don't bully this person, don't do this. Everybody make a TikTok, make a video, do a short. People are more concerned with pulling out their phone to record something that happens to become viral than they are about helping somebody get off the ground that just fell. They're more interested about how much validation will I get online versus just out of the kindness of your heart helping somebody out without having to pull out a phone to do it.
Exactly. That's integrity, right? That's
People
integrity. Don't want to have integrity. The definition of integrity is doing the right thing when no one's looking.
That's right.
That's just it. It's not. I'm not going to pull out my phone to film me walking Grammy across the street. No, I'm just going to do it.
That's right.
And if I can, I do believe in karma. I know you don't, but I do to us. I think that'll come back around when it's time. It's just, I don't need the internet's validation, because the internet should be for entertainment. I feel like it should not be for revolt, in a sense. Like, if you go, we'll talk about the video game thing. You go into a Call of Duty lobby, that I use this because it's the most toxic thing I can think of. Like, I'd say it's worse than 4chan even. But people are going to say whatever in between matches or when the two teams can talk to each other, right? Your team versus their team. And then the other team could end up on your team and you're going to yell at the other team. It doesn't matter that you were just arguing. The whole point is it's a joke, and it's an understanding that's a constant joke. Even if you say the most messed up stuff, it's still a joke. But when you get onto these social media platforms, it's like everyone wants to be serious when they want to be. And then if they say something that people turn on, then it's, oh no, I was just kidding. It's like a constant, it's toxic, but it's like a terrible kind of toxicity because it doesn't have the
Yeah, but
inherent
you
humor.
still go into that lobby. You knowing what you're going to
Yeah.
get yourself into, you still go into it. That's what I'm saying about a necessary evil. You're accepting that, okay, I'm going to go in there. It's going to be bad. Or you might say, you know what? I'm not going to go in there because it's bad. You decide to leave it. You don't do a protest or a riot over it. It's a
Yeah.
part that I don't want to be part of, so I leave it. You don't stick around and you don't make a departure speech. Like, you're not at a fucking airport. Just leave. Like,
Yeah.
this shit where you're exposed to something by no choice, get the fuck out of here. You choose to go on Facebook. You choose to watch a YouTube video. You choose to put your phone number out there for people to call you. What do you think is going to happen?
Exactly. Like, you assume the worst. Why not?
Absolutely.
What's the worst that's going to happen if you assume the worst? You might be surprised that it's not as bad as you thought. Like,
There you go.
oh no, that's positive.
Prepare
Holy
for
shit.
prepare for the worst, but expect the best.
Like, it's just, I don't know. People baffle me nowadays, and it's like everyone is two people. You got to be one person online to fucking at least somehow fit in, and then you got to be a different person in person. You could be yourself.
True. That's so
Like,
true. That's so true. And that's why I love doing the Zooms with you guys, because that's who I am. I don't have to. I mean, right now I'm being who I am, but, like I could say, and Zooms, to be more specific, I don't really want to dig into that, but in a way I do. It's like, I could say whatever. I could say a racist joke. I could say whatever the fuck I want. And
Mhm.
literally with no filter. And there's gonna be other people that will either laugh, or maybe there will be somebody that'll get offended, but they're not gonna make a speech about it. They're gonna be like,
No.
okay, that kind of hurt me. Well, they may say something and whatever.
And even if they do, we could explain how it is
Right.
a joke, and they can
Right.
see it. Right.
Right.
They're not gonna take it out of context and then hold it as a
Right.
fucking recording. Like, oh, you said to
Yes.
fucking grab women by the pussies.
Yes.
Oh, you motherfuckers.
Yeah, because there's been some shit that's been said in Zoom from other people, like Buttons the other day, where he said I wasn't offended about the baby thing, but I was like, I've heard a lot of shit on the internet, but the words that you're using right now, but I knew Buttons, right? Like I knew it, and most people using what he said, I don't give a shit what context, like that's just, but you got to take that with a grain of salt. And nowadays that is not a fucking thing. It's not.
No.
Online, not in person. I'm talking about online and internet. In person, you could say something like that. They could see the emotions in your face. They know you. They could say, okay, Buttons was just saying it.
I mean, if it was Button's first Zoom, though, we would look at him differently.
Yes, if it was his first Zoom, that'd be his last.
We're not inviting
God bless, you're coming in hot, my guy. Calm that down.
Yep,
Holy
mute that guy.
shit.
Shut his shit down. We can't have that
It's
talking.
like, you should probably establish who you are first and let me know that you're not.
Right.
Because
that.
if you say that off the bat, I'm going to assume that's the kind of person you are. That's not what we open with.
Absolutely. And because hearing what he said, you'd think that what you're saying, that he's something else. But it's just like, him. But that's the thing, is people don't want to take time to get to know somebody. They don't. I want to know you right now, who you are for face value, and that's the end of it. No backstory, no nothing. This is just the way that it is.
You can't do that, and I try to remind myself, even if it's like I'm at work, right, and somebody comes in there asking fucking questions, and I'm just like, this motherfucker will not shut up. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you, right? You kind of got to check myself and be like, oh, I don't know what's going on, whatever. I can actually give him my attention, answer his questions, and try and keep it at least on subject. But, I could be respectful in a sense.
Sure.
Right?
And
it's
you're
not
kind
like
of
he's coming
forced
in
to, though, because of your job, right? Like you have to be careful about what you say, especially to a customer in a corporation, right? Like, you are going to be held accountable.
Yeah, but it's also good practice for just being a genuine person, I should say. You don't even say good person, but a genuine person.
Professional.
Because, you don't have to be like, up, he said one thing, that's just him, labeled, done, he's in this bin now. It's like, that's not gonna work. You know, how do I know if I'm trying to look up vape videos or something and I click on the wrong Jay Hayes video? That
Mm-hmm.
guy's a piece of shit.
Yep.
No, he's not. I don't know anything about him. I just watched a fucking 8-minute video.
Yep.
Like, it
Yep.
tells you nothing. And that's why, you said Zooms are nice. They're personable. They get, and the way I look at it, especially after you join, you initially join, they're kind of, this is weird maybe, or this is intimidating. But once you're in the fold, as you say, we're just hanging out with friends. We
Yep.
just all happen to be across the world, and that's just how we can communicate with each other. So it's not like I can go down the street and show up at your house,
Yep.
So
Yep. 100% agree.
and you do get to be more comfortable with friends, and it's nice when you have a larger group of people that you can be comfortable
Versus
with,
5.
even if you don't agree on things.
Especially
Right?
when it's from people all over the world. Like, to know that,
Yes.
it's going to sound corny or cliche, but I'm not alone. I'm not alone in believing or feeling the way that I feel. And that alone is worth so much. So much.
Yeah, I'm not crazy, and I'm not a piece of shit for
Right.
questioning this.
That's right.
Like,
Right.
because even you could be steadfast, you could be confident, whatever, you still are going to have that thought at some point of, am I wrong for thinking this?
And then you're going to
Because
start to
so
change
many
your ways.
people, yeah.
Yep. And then you're going to change your ways and go more towards the side of censorship or being woke. It's because you don't get to experience that other bracket, that the other side of it, if you will. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't need somebody to verbally tell me it's okay, you are not wrong, or it's not wrong for you to feel that way. I don't need to be verbally told that. I don't need that reassurance. But just being in the presence of others that are similar and willing to share in similar ways as you just reassures you, so that you don't sit there and try to adapt yourself to a fucking woke bullshit world.
I agree. 100%. That was a good stream. Did you have a good time? I had a good time.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was
just
good.
kind of went all over the place. And
It's
just
okay
flowed,
though.
and
It's okay.
yeah, that's
It's
good. I like that.
It's okay
Yeah.
that it went everywhere. Talked about dinosaurs, bone. That's fine.
Yeah,
Guns and bullets.
everything.
And
It is what it is. But that's a conversation, right? It is the realist. That's what we're here for, is just shooting the shit. And
yeah, I had a good
Whatever.
time. Had a good time.
yeah.
So with that being said, we're gonna do this every Wednesday and Saturday. Wednesday will probably be 11. Saturday will be 2. I'll set up events. I want to say that this Saturday we'll have a full panel of 4. I guess we'll see, but it'll be 2:00. I'll still be here. Yeah, and then we'll do a Zoom right after this. I'll pop a Zoom off because there's some things I want to say. But it was good. It was good. I had a good time. I had a good time. Good time.
Yeah, it was fun.
So with that
Definitely.
being said, anybody that's in here, I'll do a 25. So I'll do a 25 tier Zoom. I'll see you then. Willet, stay tuned. You guys all be good. Stay beautiful. And make sure you subscribe for this Saturday coming up, 4 days from now.